When you hear the words chat room, what's the first thing that pops into your head? For me, it's the screech of a dial-up modem, maybe that "you've got mail" sound. Let's be real, for a lot of us, that's where the story kinda ends. But what if I told you that was just chapter 1? Today, we're gonna dive into the hidden world of modern chat rooms, and trust me, it's a world that's way bigger, way more diverse, and maybe even more important than you think.
So, I gotta ask you straight up. Do you think chat rooms are a thing of the past? You know, like a digital ghost town? I'll be honest, I was a little skeptical myself. But the stuff we're about to look at is, well, it's surprising. And I have a feeling it might just change your mind too.
Alright, so if chat rooms are still kicking, who on earth is actually using them? The answer is not who you think. In fact, this is probably the biggest misconception about this entire corner of the internet.
We can all picture it, right? The lone teenager, hunched over a glowing screen in a dark room, just typing away to total strangers. For years, that was the stereotype. But today, phew, the reality is a whole different ballgame.
Okay, get this. 65%. That's the chunk of users on some of the biggest chat platforms who are between 18 and 34. This isn't just a teenage playground anymore. This is a space for young adults. We're talking people navigating college, starting careers, and figuring out life.
And if you want to see the proof, just look at a giant like Omegle, the 18 to 24 crowd, a massive 38% of their users. Then you've got another 27% from the 25 to 34 group. You put those two together, and wow, that is the undeniable heart of the platform.
But hold on, this is where it gets really interesting. On a platform called Paltalk, which is built more around communities, the single largest age group is actually 55 to 64. No joke. It just goes to show you, chat rooms aren't a one-size-fits-all kind of thing. They're a space for connection for literally all ages.
Okay, so we've got a handle on the age thing. But what about gender? Are these spaces pretty balanced, or are we talking about a total boys club? Let's take a look. This chart tells a pretty clear story. On the anonymous spots like chat.com and Omegle, it skews heavily male. We're talking 77% and 66%. That's a big difference. But then you glance over at Paltalk, and it's much, much closer to an even split. So what gives?
The why here really just comes down to safety and structure. Think about it. Anonymous, anything-goes spaces can unfortunately become magnets for harassment, which, let's be honest, disproportionately drives women away. But when you build a platform with actual profiles, with moderation, with a sense of community, well, you end up creating a much safer, more welcoming vibe for everybody. Okay, so we know who's chatting, but what about how they're chatting? Is it that same mindless, endless scroll we're all so used to on social media? Well, the answer might actually surprise you.
This table right here really puts it all into perspective. The average time you spend in an anonymous chat room, about 8 minutes. Even on a community hub like Discord, it's only around 17 minutes a day. Now, compare that to the hours we sink into social media. It's a completely different kind of interaction. Let's just sit with that number for a second. 8 minutes. That's the average time someone hangs out on Omegle in one go. It's not about settling in for some long, deep conversation. It's about a quick, spontaneous, almost electric connection. You jump in, you have a chat, and poof, you're on to the next thing.
And now, let's look at the other side of the coin. 2.4 hours. That's how much time the average person spends on social media. Every single day. That's not a quick check-in, that's a serious chunk of our waking life. It's so clear that chat rooms and social media are serving two totally different purposes.
So, if people are using chat rooms for these quick, intense little bursts of connection, when exactly are they doing it? Because the timing of these chats tells us a whole lot about why people are looking for them in the first place.
You can basically think of this as the internet's own special rush hour. Things start to ramp up around 7 p.m. You know, once work is done, school is out, and then bam, right around 9 p.m., activity on these chat platforms hits its peak. It's that time of night when the world kind of quiets down, and maybe we start looking for someone to talk to.
And this quote from emeraldchat.com just hits the nail on the head. Quiet nights are when many individuals turn to online chats for companionship. See? It's not just about boredom. It's about a real, fundamental human need to connect with other people, especially in those moments when we might be feeling the most alone.
So let's put all the pieces of this puzzle together. We've talked about who's chatting, how they're chatting, and when they're chatting. But what does it all mean? What is the special, unique role that chat rooms are playing in our digital lives today? This little comparison chart just lays it all out perfectly. Over here, you've got social media, which is mostly about passive consumption, just scrolling through feeds, watching stuff, and keeping tabs on people you already know. But over here, you have chat rooms, and they're all about active, real-time conversation with strangers. It's spontaneous, it's temporary, and a lot of the time, it's totally anonymous.
In a way, you could almost call modern chat rooms a kind of digital third place. So, in sociology, a third place is somewhere that isn't your home and isn't your work, where you can just gather and connect. And in a world where so much of what we do online is polished and performed, chat rooms offer this rare, raw space for spontaneous, unedited, and just plain human connection.
And that leaves us with one last big thought to chew on. In a world where every post, every photo, every single profile is so carefully crafted, is it possible that a spontaneous, anonymous conversation with a total stranger is one of the most authentic connections we can actually find online? Something to think about. Thanks for tuning in.